Manchester United posted a pre-tax loss of £33 million in the first quarter of 23-24. Gav, is this a big deal? What does this mean?
So basically, Manchester United for the last 4 years, they've posted pre-tax losses in the first quarter. It's unusual for clubs to go and give the quarterly results. Most do it on a sort of 6 month or even annual basis. This is a club that was printing money until very recently and have consistently made losses over the last 3-4 years. Part of those losses, part of the reason losses are so big, of course, is because they're servicing the huge debt that they accumulated.
Yeah, of course.
The debt which is there because after they borrowed money to buy the club, they dumped the club, the debt on the club. But that's an old story, but one that I think younger generations still should be familiar with.
Yeah.
No, the only thing is obviously not going to get any better given that they're out of Europe this time around. That's the other thing, right?
Yeah,
So they have the initial Champions League revenue. They're not going to get any more from that.
And they would have planned for what? Last 16, maybe quarterfinals in the Champions League? You would think in the budget?
I think last 16 most likely. Yeah. Sticking with United, they've identified their new chief executive. It's Omar Berrada, Paris born and bred.
Yes, Paris born and bred. Omar, I love you. You know that.
But the fun thing is he's joining from their crosstown rivals, Manchester City. His title was Chief Football Operations Officer at the City Football Group, and he was basically Ferran Soriano's right-hand man. This isn't quite Sol Campbell leaving Tottenham for Arsenal, is it? But there's a bit of a betrayal. Is it Agent Omar now there to screw up Old Trafford for it? No, I'm kidding.
No, but I think he's got a big job on his hand, obviously, now with restructuring that club and making that club, or taking that club back towards the top. I can see why he wants that job. I think he's a very, very talented guy in many respects. He speaks 5 or 6 different languages. I think he was very good everywhere he went at Barcelona, where he was like head of sponsorships and a lot of other big roles. And then obviously at City, where he'd been for 11 years or 12 years now, I think it is. So good luck to him. I think it's a hell of a job. He will start at the start of next season. So I think he's on gardening leave now until the summer.
Is it strange to you, because obviously we talked last week about those 115 charges against Manchester City, with Richard Masters wonderfully coming out and saying, well, a date's been set, but I can't tell you what it is because, well, lawyers. Presumably, if Richard Masters can't tell us a date, presumably Manchester United don't know the date either. Is it weird to you if somehow City are found guilty for some of these charges, maybe that Manchester United wouldn't have waited until they found out what Omar Berrada, the outcome of that case, or what Berrada's case and all this was? Or maybe his hiring is contingent on him not having any fallout from that? Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. But
I mean, some of the stuff dates back to before he came to the club.
Yeah, exactly.
But some of it is after.
Yeah, some of it is after. I mean, some of the sources are like briefing that he was not involved in any of those charges, no knowledge, no involvement. I don't really, personally, I don't know the end. I can't tell you if it's true or not.
It's funny because it's a double-edged sword, right? Because those charges are so serious and so big, if proven, obviously.
Yeah.
That if he wasn't involved in them, it's like, what were you actually
be doing?
Were you not really in the big boys' room?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a tricky one.
Because also he's also credited to having brought or helped bringing Erling Haaland to Manchester City as well, in terms of like just negotiating the contract, a bit like a sporting director or something like that. So we see. I just hope, I don't know if it's possible, maybe it's not possible until he leaves City, but I would like to hear from Omar. I really would like to, he can talk about his time at City, his time at Barcelona, being born and growing up in Paris, all that kind of stuff.
Omar, come on Gab and Jules meet. Come on, man.
I'll send him a message. But yeah, and what it means to him to get that United job, I think it's a massive job. It really is a massive job.
I think it's interesting too, just getting somebody from your crosstown rivals. Like that's, it's just in the sense that it's not like they woke up one day, right? It's not like they texted Omar Berrada last week and said, hey, right? So presumably they would have interviewed him or whatever else.
For sure.
To me, it speaks to the fact that City right now don't see Manchester United as a direct rival. Because...
Why? He's free to leave City if he wants to join United. There's nothing City can do, right?
No, they can't. But normally you wouldn't want somebody, and I'm sure he went to City and he told them, hey, I've been approached for this big job, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure everything was above board. But I don't know. I'm just imagining, could you could you imagine Real Madrid negotiating with Deco to bring him from Barcelona during a season?
I know what
could
you mean.
Imagine, United trying to tempt Liverpool trying to tempt Pep Guardiola to replace Klopp during a season, during a title race, right?
Yeah, no,
I think right
what you
now,
mean.
City feel that they and United are in different places. And so if it means losing your number 2 and he wants to go, you're not going to stand in his way. You're not going to see it as like, well, what comes up in the interviews? Because inevitably he's going to talk about his job. He's going to talk about his work, City's plans, and that they don't see that in any way.
Yeah, no, maybe.